with Sophia Rothschild. Sophia has a DSS in history, economics, politics, and theology, a PhD in physics, and is also a rabbi. Sophia, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about your early childhood?
Yes, thank you very much for asking that question. It's a very good question. My father was a German Jewish banker named Adolf Rothschild, and my mother was a medical doctor from Madrid, Spain. They were both Europeans, and from there, they get married. Incidentally, my father, apart from being a German citizen, he was also an American citizen, and he had numerous business interests in the United States. And so in 1982, we came to the United States, and from there, he made a number of investments, and he gave birth to me in May 11, 1982, and from there, we went back to Europe, and I spent my early childhood in palaces and in castles and all of the likes, and traveled around. I had 4 nannies, and I also had bodyguards and numerous other elements that come with being part of an aristocratic family. It was a very privileged life, and my father made sure that I was overly protected.
And tell me, being from that kind of background, an aristocratic background, how are you able to relate to other people who maybe didn't have that kind of background?
That's interestingly, the way that goes about developing a relationship with people that were not from my background was the fact that by the fact that I traveled around, my father made sure I was well read. I had private tutors. I had a private tutor who was a black lady named Van Das Thompson, Dr. Van Das Thompson, and I also had a numerous other exposure by being that they would travel around, and we had guests that come to a place many times from many different backgrounds. So even though I'm from an aristocratic background, and by aristocrat I mean it was the upper class, the billionaire class, the very wealthy, the very privileged class, that money that been in the family for generations and generations. And so my exposure to other cultures and classes was through traveling and reading, and that's how I was able to relate to other cultures.
And how has your upbringing affected your view of life, and how has it changed over the years?
That is a very good question. And I will answer it by saying, I am very, very close to my father. My father, I was a 2-parent family, but very, very close to my father. I remember every day in the evening, but when it was time for him to come home, I would wait by the windows. I would not leave the window until he comes. And it was basically, I was like a daddy's girl, and there was no if or any way around it. However, even though I go to other places and see other things, I was able to deal with others because I had a very firm and strong upbringing and a relationship with my father, who also toughened me up. He would sometimes let me lie in a bathtub filled with ice, cold water. If I hit my finger and I want to cry, he would say, no, don't do that, don't cry. You never cry in public. And so I was very much a prim and proper person. We never show emotion. We were more of a stiff upper lip, so to speak.
So Oxford, right? Could you share a little bit about your time there?
Yes, I got into Oxford because I had very much um, a strong group of tutors that prepared me for the GCE O-levels and A-levels. Incidentally, when I went to Oxford, I did not use the name Rothschild because even though, yes, it's England, I didn't want people to know that I was from a rich, upper aristocratic Jewish background. And so I go by the name Sophia Megan Woodley. I use Woodley because in our family tradition, the child will get a name from each part of the family. So I have Sophia, Catherine, Megan, Woodley with Rothschild. Woodley was one of my relatives. Megan was my aunt. Catherine was another one of my aunt, and the first name Sophia. So with that being said, we decided to use the name Sophia Megan Woodley while going to Oxford, so not to let people know of my background as a rich upper class Jewish family. Um, the Rothschild family is a very big family. Um, I'm not directly related to the Rothschilds in England. I'm not directly related to the Rothschilds in England or France. However, we're probably fourth or fifth cousins. But the point is that my family, Rothschilds, we've been in banking, in real estate, been in other aspects for hundreds of years, and there are thousands of Rothschilds in the world. The point is that I think if you had all the Rothschilds, net worth would be in the trillions. But that being said, at Oxford, they had the tutorial system. And the tutorial system, we had one-on-one instruction with a professor and a tutor that guide you and protect and guide you and mentor you. You want this business as a big class where everybody is just like a road, a bread circus. You had to think and reason and argue your point and immerse in the topic. And that gave me a firm fundamentals of how to do this of life and to understand that life is not just simply a straight line. It was a multidimensional manifold of interconnecting points. And that's what I learned from Oxford. And it's, even to this day, it burns in my memory.
That's wonderful. Do you want to share more about your time in Israel or talk more about the years past since Oxford and what you've been doing?
Very well. While in Israel, I think in the 2006, 2005, up to the 8, there were a lot of suicide bombings in Israel. A lot of time you were walking, you boom, that explosion. People got killed in those buses, and it was very hard time. But while I was there, they had an IDF military personnel would sometimes go to the small towns and give us some basic concepts of paramilitary training, weapons handling, and other things to deal with if we were attacked. So Israel was a very vivid experience, and, and it's a very tough experience, and I survived it, and it gave me some basic survival skills going forward.
That's wonderful. Do you want to share more about your time in Israel or talk more about the years past since Oxford and what you've been doing?
Yes, going. That's thanks for asking that question again. It's very important that people understand that Israel is always fighting for its survival, and as you know, Our family have a long history of working on film in Israel and building Israel. And and apart from that, I've been involved in um, activities of helping the poor and less fortunate.
You want to talk more about your advocacy?
Yes, being a regular from a very privileged and wealthy background, it's for us in our family, we are the tradition that we should always give something back and not just take. The reality is that when you work in a homeless shelter, when you work in other places, you see how other people live. It gives you an appreciation for what you have and to hold on to even more. And so I've been advocacy was for domestic workers because even though my parents took care of my domestic workers very well, I think it's sad that in this day and age, domestic workers are not being taken care of. So I advocate strongly for making sure domestic workers have some basic rights like everybody else. I also do a lot of work at shelters and helping people that are less fortunate than myself.
That's great. Do you want to share anything else about your life or anything else as part of this interview before we close it up?
Yes, I would like to say, when I came to the United States, as I mentioned earlier, I had a very pampered existence and pampered life, well taken care of, everything was provided for me. And so for when I came to the United States, I didn't want to rely on family at all the time. I wanted to branch on my own. So for a while, it was rough. I even was homeless for a while, but I didn't want to call in the family for any money, so I just tough it out. And I was able to rise to the occasion. I used to get up 6 o'clock in the morning, fold my blanket, put it away, thanks to my military training and paramilitary training in Israel. I was able to survive on the main streets. I was attacked a couple of times, but I was able to use mixed martial arts and to literally use my strong friends and literally crush them. But the point was that um, through it all, I put myself by my bootstrap. And that's what people need to understand. The toughness of life and being well man of an iron will is what gonna get you to succeed. It's not about skin complexion or race. And I must have to confess though, yes, even when I was on the street, being that I was a white woman, people were always rooting for me. And they were rooting for me because they know that I get up every day and I go to work. I clean up after myself and I build positive experience, didn't make excuses, pull myself with my bootstrap, get a job, and become successful and powerful in my own rights. And I had that I have I'm the heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune come along down in a few years. So I'm sitting pretty, as we say in America.
I think that's it for this interview, unless there's any final words you wanted to share.
Yes, I would like to let it be known that people start calling me the Iron Lady because they see that I was tough, no nonsense, and ruthless. And I do paramilitary training, I do mixed martial arts, and I've also been able to survive the rigors and toughness of life. Even when I was homeless, I didn't make excuses, didn't go around running to daddy for money. I toughed it out, I get off my ass, and I applied myself, and I overcame, I put myself on my bootstrap and get all the way back to where I was. So even though I was born in an aristocratic family, didn't want to rely on them for money, and so I proved to them, yes, I'm an Iron Lady, I can make it on my own, and I did make it on my own, and now I'm successful and powerful again, and I own my own company, that does research in electromagnetic propulsion systems, and it's been quite a ride. And I must say that there's no such thing as can't. There's no such thing as impossible. The iron will to survive is what gets me through all this. And I make no apology for it about my bootstraps. It's possible, you can do it. Stop making excuses. And the fact that I was able to do it, and I did it very well, a profit, and now a nice place, and own my own company. I'm the heir to a multi-billion-dollar fortune, and as we always say, things are looking pretty, but I'm not gonna let that slow me down. I'm gonna continue pushing forward and trucking along until I rule the world. But and a more lighter note. But the point is that it's always the same. If you want something, you gotta go get it. No one will give it for you. Whether you're a Rothschild, or whether you are a Carnegie, or whether you are a Papa, you gotta get up and get it. Nobody's gonna give it to you. And I proved that decisively to anyone. And I make no apology. A number of times I was assaulted, and I used brutal tactics to neutralize the attack. In one case, I threw a lady down the stairs who, stole my iPhone and the computer. But I am not one to be messed with. I'm very ruthless, and life is about being ruthless, being tough, being merciless. And people understand that if they mess with me, they're gonna be in a world of hurt. But the more that I know that I do also do help the community with what I can, always not making excuses, moving forward, straight forward, take your business, no excuses, no apologies. I am an iron lady, I am ruthless, and I get what I want. I always get my way. There's no other way. I get my way. I get what I want. I take what I want. I smash it, break it to pieces. And to be successful in life, you have to be ruthless. You have to get off your ass and get it. You have to be merciless. And call me demon. I'm a demon, I'm a saint, I'm an angel, I'm whatever. Bottom line, I'm one tough son of a bitch, and nobody fuck with me. Nobody. Thank you very much for your interview, and it's been a pleasure.